Welcome to Detachment 128's podcast. This is a series of recordings that we're going to be having. This is the second of a series that we're going to be having this semester, interviewing special guests, chatting with cadets, and understanding ROTC at a deeper level. There's a lot that can be easily missed from a surface level overview of ROTC, and our goal is to make it a little bit more personable with this podcast. This is an open discussion, so feel free to leave the phone down, open up a new tab, and listen. You won't be missing anything from viewing the video. My name is Cadet Sproul, and today we will recognize Black History Month and discuss more on the topic with Cadet Gorman. What's going on, Cadet Gorman?
Hi, Cadet Sproul. I'm very excited to be on this podcast, honestly. I saw the first one. It was amazing. So good job on you and your team for starting this whole thing. This is amazing to, hear the voices of cadets, just find out about what we do outside of our TC and what we represent. So this is a really good thing. And I'm really glad to be here.
It's great to have you. I guess the first thing that we should talk about is we're not wearing uniforms. We're wearing civilian.
I know. It feels so good.
So we don't sleep in our uniforms.
Right.
We are cadets and students outside of the program. Well, first, before we dive too much into the weeds, give me a quick summary, who you are, why you're in ROTC.
Okay, so as you all know, my name is Cadet Gorman. My first name is Beatrice. I'm a senior. I'm a AS400 cadet in ROTC this semester. We're commissioning, so yay. Basically what ROTC, so the way I came about joining ROTC, it was kind of out of nowhere. So if a lot of you might know, I'm actually prior enlisted at the Delaware Air National Guard. I've been enlisted for 6 years. So ROTC was just another challenge that I wanted to kind of put myself into. So it was just a random thing that I went to, the first orientation that I had. And I wasn't really planning on staying. It was just to figure out what exactly is going on. What is this other program that we're talking about, at the University of Delaware campus? And just by joining, I realized I could grow a lot more. I could be more than I was, as an A1C and as a senior airman. I saw the chance to grow personally, professionally, and just in other aspects of my life. And I met a lot of wonderful people in the program when I joined on my first orientation. It was just I just saw a lot of chance to grow, a lot of challenges that I could, use to better myself. So that was mainly the reason I joined ROTC. And then I found other benefits such as, job security, just, having a team behind you and a team in front of you, just a chance to serve your country as well. So it was a lot of different reasons that kind of put me in the program. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you pointed out, you're probably one of the only cadets or one of the few who are a part of the Air Force currently, and you're in the program.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, honestly. Just seeing the difference between being an enlisted and preparing to be an officer. It's been very eye-opening. There's a lot of things that I've learned, as you know, just from the difference between even going to field training and the difference between going to boot camp is just so much different. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey.
That's awesome. Well, I'd like to start by asking you, what's probably the most significant part of Black History Month for you? I know February is the month that kind of encapsulates, a lot of individuals' accomplishments in, the civil rights movement, so there's so much that, falls into that category. What out of all of that is probably most significant to you?
A lot of you may not know this, but I actually immigrated from Ghana in 2013. So I came here in the United States as an immigrant, in an entirely different continent, not really know what was going on. And in Ghana, everyone is Black. So there's nothing really dedicated to learning about Black history because all the stuff we learn is about Black people because we're all Black in Ghana. So coming to the US, it was just slightly different. I know being in school, unfortunately, didn't really see a lot of Black figures in our books, not a lot of Black teachers. Most of our counselors were, not Black, they were white. So it's just Black History Month, February is very important to kind of focus and kind of have a narrow gaze on what Black people have contributed to this country. And it's just made me appreciate it a lot more, as an immigrant, just to see that, a lot of people who look like me are being acknowledged and they're being revered in that month. So, I mean, honestly, a lot of Black people know this, but we always say just a month is not enough because there's so much history of, what Black people have contributed to this country. So, just that's just basically what Black History Month means to me, just like a focus on Black figures and their contributions to this country.
It's a good point. A month is not enough. I definitely agree
Yeah.
with that. I work part-time at Apple, and there's this thing that they've been doing. They release like a Black History Month watch band, and
Hmm.
that's kind of cool because you get to wear that outside of like the Black History Month.
Right,
Everyone can be like,
right,
"Hey, what is
right.
that watch band? That's a cool style, and you can talk about it." So
Hmm.
I totally agree with that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And
oh, go ahead.
yeah, just to add to that, so this is actually not a thing. I didn't know about this until this year, but actually the theme for this year's Black History Month is the Black family representation and diversity. And I think it's just very important because you don't really see a lot of positive, unfortunately, that comes with the Black family. So I think this year, it's important to keep this theme in the back of our minds when we're, celebrating the month. It's not just about Black people, it's about Black families, their unity, and just the diversity that comes with being Black.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. So you mentioned coming from Ghana. That's a
Hmm.
pretty uncommon thing. Um,
Whew.
coming from since 2013 to now,
Hmm. Right.
especially your whole life in Ghana. What has been so drastically different between the two countries? What's like stood out to you?
So obviously it was so different. I don't think you have any idea just how like eye-opening it was just to come to an entire different country. So mind you, back in Ghana, so the life that we see America as is, I'm not kidding when I tell you that when I came here, I expected every high school to look like High School Musical and to look like Camp Rock. No, I'm not kidding. So, like, I'm expecting to come in here, with the cool kids, with the musical. I don't know what I
Uh-huh.
was thinking, but that's the image I had of America. So coming here, going to Newark High, it was just so different because it was like, wait, where's the High School Musical part of it? There was a lot of challenges. First it was the accent because I had a thicker accent back then, and it was just everything. It was the food. I remember just ordering food at lunch, and so the American cheese. I don't eat a lot of cheese in Ghana. So I would usually order what the person in front of me was ordering. And I heard, because it was a sub, and the guy asked for an American cheese, and I thought I heard Americano, the Americano coffee. So when I got up there, she was like, "What cheese do you want?" And I was like, "Americano." And she was like, "Wait, what?" And so it's just like little stuff like that. But aside from those little differences, just obviously the education system, there's some slight differences with that. Just the infrastructure, just the culture in general, the food, the people, it's just a lot different than here. So it was a little bit harder to adjust in the beginning, if I'm being completely honest. But as time went on, you kind of found the people that connected you to your roots. So it was kind of easier to adjust when you found those people because it was like it reminded you of home. So yeah,
Good. So do you feel like you have some solid root building people with you now?
definitely, definitely. I've just as I've gotten older, I've just kind of learned to connect to people who are most like my personality and people who are more accepting of who I am as a person. So it was just easier when I went through that route. It's like I just want you to accept me because I'm just me and I'm different from you. But as long as you're accepting of me and I'm accepting of you, that's literally all we need, to exist and to have it in this world together. So
Right.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you've had a good, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, not merge. Good welcome to the
Right, right.
um
Adjustment.
adjustment. That's
Yeah.
the word.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. That's good, and that's hysterical. The American cheese story. Um,
Yeah, it was terrible. I was like, wait, what? And I couldn't order from drive-throughs for like the longest time because I didn't know the food. Like burgers,
Sure.
yeah, burgers were a thing in Ghana, but like it wasn't like the main thing. And it was just different stuff, like pronunciation to words, because we use the British English. So even when I'm speaking, I would spell color with a U instead of a R when I'm writing, and I would get marked down for that. So it was just like little stuff like that that, kind of tripped me a couple of times, but
Wow.
it wasn't that bad.
So
Yeah.
what is the Ghana burger? Like what's the like everyone gets a burger in America.
I mean, yeah. So, okay. So we have rice. Rice, when you talk about rice, rice is a thing we eat all the time. So we have rice. There's a staple food called jollof rice. And that's like the burger, like, the staple food when you go to, like, when you come to the US, that's all we talk about, burgers and pizza. But when you go to Ghana, it's jollof rice. There's this other food called Wache. So it's basically rice and beans. So I don't know. I feel like we're deviating. Like right now, I'm just talking about food. So,
It's okay. I am hungry though. But so rice. Okay, that's cool. I've
right,
got I'm entering the rice area. I'm trying different
right.
rice. My fiance is a sticky rice fanatic. Um,
Oh,
she's
okay.
she's kind of walked me through what's the spicy rice. Not guacamole, but it's something similar. I don't know. I can't think of the word. But
No, but I'm sure it's good though.
hey, I'm opening my palate.
That's good. That's good. That's really good.
Anyway, the Air Force. First off, we're joining the Air Force. We're going to be commissioned officers after the program.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
when the Air Force right now is going through, it's a very diverse branch, but we've
Right.
just recently changed command. So now we
Mm-hmm.
have a black chief of staff and we have a black chief master sergeant of the Air Force. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on that?
You have no idea the feeling, as a Black person, to see, representation in, a higher field. Like when I walk in a room and, it's cool, to see, a lot of, able white people who are, able to run the country and able to, lead in people, in places of power. But it's different as a Black person to see that representation and, look to that and be like, okay, like just by seeing this person in that position, it kind of gives you some motivation that because I see you there, I can make it too. So, seeing the chief of staff of the Air Force, being in that position, it just gave me and a lot of other Black people so much hope that wow, like this, like okay, like if he can do it, and you kind of relate in the struggles as a Black person, and you can see that if he has gone through all those barriers to make it to where he is now, then what is stopping me? So, and we say it all the time, representation is everything. Representation in the media, representation, in places of power, just everywhere. It just adds so much to the life of someone, and it's not something that we usually think about because we're just going about our daily activities and just living life, but it makes a big difference to somebody. And even in the ROTC, like it's just nice to see, like I know, like at this point, like I'm like the only Black POC, so for some reason it just makes me feel responsible for a lot of the GMCs coming up, because in some ways you just relate to that struggle of, okay, I'm the only person here, and everybody's looking at me like I'm different because you are, and it sucks that when somebody sees you, the first thing they see is your skin color. So, there's already a preconceived judgment that people have already passed on you without even talking to you. So it's this struggle that I see with them sometimes, the younger Black POC, the Black GMCs. And I just hope they can move past that and look at it like, this is a place that you deserve to be in despite your skin color, despite, your background, despite the struggles or whatever that you have been through. That should not, dictate where you're going to be, and if you're going to be able to become an Air Force officer or not. So it's just nice to see representation, of Black people now after all these years, in
Right.
those positions. So yeah, it's just a really good feeling.
And interesting, you call out the fact that you're one of the few. I think you're the only Black POC, and that there
Mhm.
are few. Black ROTC cadets, and it reminded me. I think I was meeting a previous cadre member down at DSU, and she had hours down there, and I was able to go down there and meet her. But I visited DSU for the first time on my own, and as a historically Black college and university, I was for the very first time that I can recall a minority in that environment, and it opened my eyes so much to see, wow, like this is how, because I'm not privileged enough to be in a diverse environment. I'm around a lot of other people like me.
Right.
So I loved that chance to actually be down in an environment where I could find no one of the same skin tone as me. Like everyone else was down there, and I enjoyed the experience so much. So I love hearing the story from you because it opens my eyes to your viewpoint and your eyes of seeing someone in the Air Force in a position of power, leading the entire branch.
Right.
The connection is that's got to be the best thing in the world.
Right.
Now, quick question for you: when you mentioned that you were trying to kind of lead the other the ROTC cadets, and I had a thought that was going to that. When you were trying to lead the other cadets in the ROTC, I know there are cadets down there who probably don't vocalize it, but still think the same way that you do, in the sense of like, I absolutely am the minority, but I have a drive because, like, what would you say to a cadet who's thinking, I'm holding back these thoughts, or I don't really want to connect because they're too scared or they're too afraid?
Yeah. Honestly, the only thing I would say is somebody else is gonna be looking up to you, and that's like the mindset that I've been going through with this program. And I know, like, a lot of people don't even think about it that way, but when I'm going through the program, I'm like, I have to be successful, and I don't know, you could take this anyway, but I have to succeed in this program because I know there's a lot of other, Black cadets looking up to me, and I just have to make it, and I have to show a good example because, when they see me go through it, that would give them some motivation, and that would give them some push to also, bypass that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of, oh my God, are my views even going to be respected? Are my views going to be listened to? Is the way I talk going to be ridiculed, or is the way I talk going to be questioned? So I would say to them, like, look past that and kind of look to the future. The next GMC is going to be looking for that one Black cadet to relate to. He's going to look for that one Black cadet to come to when they're going through some struggle or they're going through some feeling. So just be that person that's going to be there for when that one cadet comes in. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I know
No, it does.
it does.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
obviously,
that's all I would say.
obviously the world's going through a whole heck of a lot right now with COVID, and
Oh
there's
man.
a whole lot that's going on. But how can people, amidst all of this, still recognize Black History Month, recognize its significance, and still give it, the attention that it deserves?
So I'm glad, like, this COVID kind of gave us all a chance to kind of pause on a lot of the issues that this country has, specifically when it comes to, the lives of Black people. So I think we can all like learn a lesson from it, especially with what happened, this past summer. It kind of gave us all a chance to rethink our biases, to rethink the things we say that we might not even be thinking about. We might not even think we have this thought about these preconceived bias against someone because of the color of their skin. But I feel like this break, COVID, kind of gave us a chance to think about that.
Right.
So I would say just keep educating yourself about Black history, because our school is not going to do that. So keep educating yourself about Black history, keep looking up Black figures that have contributed, just like the little stuff around your home. Teach positivity. Try to educate yourself about the biases that you may have against a Black person. If you feel certain about a Black person, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this because of how they're acting, or is this because of the color of their skin? So just this Black History Month, as this it's the theme is like family representation and stuff like that. Just kind of think about that. Learn about Black history, learn about Black figures, and just keep spreading positivity, joy, love, just laughter everywhere you go, especially to Black people.
Definitely. I have
Yeah.
a friend of mine who on Instagram will keep posting posts like, hey, on this day on history, this like this person did X, Y, and Z. And now I'm like educating
Right.
people. I'm like, oh, sweet. Thank you. Like I had
Right.
no idea that happened. So
Right. Yeah, it's so funny. It's actually so funny. So not trying to call them out or anything, but like even like on the Air Force page, the US Air Force page, like the only few times they would post about Black people would be on Black History Month. And I'm like, why can't we just continue posting throughout the entire year? Like, it doesn't necessarily, and that's why I keep saying February is just not enough for Black History Month.
right.
It's like, why do we always have to wait till February to celebrate Martin Luther King? Why do we have to wait till February when we have, the 11 months out of the year? So, just don't start and stop in February. Just do it for the rest of the year as you're going.
Right.
Just educate yourself, because Black history is American history. It doesn't even have to be labeled as Black history, but the only reason it was labeled as Black history was because it wasn't taught as American history. So, that's just that. Just continuously learn about Black history throughout the year, and not just about Black history, not just during Black History Month.
Yeah, because it's kind of like if
Yeah.
you have a month for it, where it it does have its benefits, but it also feels like it's limiting everything just to that month. It's like, oh darn, you can't put anything
Exactly.
outside of the month. I missed it. It's March
Exactly.
1st.
Right. Oh, damn. I should have celebrated Black history this year. Dang, you know what? It's like, come on. No, we could do better. We could all do better though. So,
Which I mean, to point out, this podcast is coming out. It'll probably come out in the 20s of February. So, probably the last week of
mhm,
February. That's not to say that this is a bad timing. I shouldn't have done it February 1st. Like
mhm,
it's something that definitely can be thought about the entire year. And I'm glad that
mhm.
you made a comment about websites and posting pictures, because that definitely is something that we're trying to do as a detachment. Even we have our own website.
Right.
We're trying to make sure, hey,
Mhm,
look, like we're not all white guys. Like
mhm. Right.
we have such a diverse um
Yeah.
group. Maybe not, if it's not in our detachment, it's in others, and other detachments
Right.
to point that out too.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
That's a good thing to point out. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember going down to field training, and in the airport, it was so random. It was this Black lady, she was a vendor selling at one of the stores, and she saw me and she was like, "Go you, like go represent, go make us proud." And I had no idea who this lady was. But just think about the fact that she was in the airport, so she obviously has seen multiple, ROTC cadets coming through. But
Right.
just the fact that she had seen that one that was like, oh my God, you go out there and represent. It was like, man, like how you don't see them like that. So
Yeah.
it's just it's just kind of funny when she said that. And I try to like, sell the ROTC, to a lot of people I know in my community, because a lot of people don't know, like if your dad wasn't in the military, if your parents weren't in the military, or they haven't, your grandparents, didn't fight for this country, there's just nothing you would know about ROTC or even the US military in general. A lot of people think all we do is just fly planes, and I'm like, no, that's not a case. But that's a different topic. But I try to sell it to my community, like, yo, like this is actually really, really good. It's a good opportunity to grow yourself, to serve your country, and to have a stable, secure job. Like this is actually a really good gig. And a lot of them don't really get it. And so it's just nice to see somebody like me, or somebody that looks like me, just kind of showing their face on the website, like you talked about, with our ROTC website. Is nice to see, a Black, like, okay, if that person is there, then what's stopping me from doing it? So
Be a connection.
it's all about influence, representation, and stuff out there.
Definitely. Well, you made a comment and you said that most people think in the Air Force that we fly planes, and that's all we do. Now, forget my virtual background here. I do have some planes, but forget that. what
Right.
does the future have in store for you? Because that could
Oh
talk about
man.
that top. What other opportunities?
Right. Okay, so as you know, I mean, as some of you may know, I'm going to be commissioning this May, and my AFROTC is going to be in finance. I'm very, very excited for that. Aside from that, like later down the line, I'm looking to kind of try to get in the medical service corps to do what I've always wanted to do as a health service administrator. So I'm trying to do that. Just settle down. I know it's like it's something that has been on my mind. So just commission. We're taking the baby steps from now. Get the semester done. Commission down the line. Look into the health service administration position in the MSc, and just serve our country. That's basically all I have in the back of my mind. And the next 5 years is basically panned out, and this is all I have going on.
That's awesome. So you said
Yeah.
finance, medical core. There are other things that we can do except fly planes.
hmm I know. Word. Like we don't just fly planes. But yeah,
Well,
that's
thank
awesome.
you for chatting. I know we got to talk about a lot. I really appreciate
hmm
you carving out some of this time and allowing
hmm
us to chat.
hmm
This is, again, like I said, it's going to be a reoccurring podcast. So be on the lookout for more. We're going to talk about a whole lot more. We're going to have a whole lot more fun activities planned. Cadet Gorman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Cadet Sproul. This was awesome.